Hello, YouTube. We are back for another installment. It's been a while for Jeremy's Detective Comics. Now, if I'm planning this correctly, I already revealed what the wrap looked like, meaning the wrap that we have been working on with that nasty tape stain. So if I plan it correctly, we are doing a reverse upload. What does that mean, reverse? Well, it means that you already saw the results of this book or of this page in the prior upload. I wanted to try to spice it up a little bit. So that's what we're doing. So right here is the wrap. And as you can see, this is where that nasty tape stain was. It lightened up significantly. It's no longer there, but it lightened up the darkness a little bit more than the color of the existing wrap, which is fine because we're going to leaf cast over it. We were able to remove the stain. So what I want to do is I want to remove that page. And then right here we have the other page of that wrap, meaning the other half. And everyone knows the other half as well is in pretty rough shape. This is the roughest shaped wrap I think that we are going to have to work with in this great Detective Comics number 33. So what are we going to do, Jerry the Jitterbug? What we are going to do is we are going to set up the page for leaf casting. We are going to prepare it. And what I want to do is I want to set the page up as best as possible with lining up the dimensions of the page to the existing pages that we have already. And that is what we are going to do right now. I also think what we're going to do is we are going to do double leaf casting, double-sided leaf casting for this wrap. It's something I'm going to try to do and hopefully it will work out well. So what we have to do is this is the wrap right here that we're dealing with. And I want to make the dimensions of this wrap line up compared to the other wraps that we are dealing with. And in order to do that, I'm going to step away and I am going to get the wrap that we're going to use as a reference to one of the wraps that I cleaned and one of the wraps that we performed Tengojo repairs on. So that's what we're going to do right now. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, guys. So what I'm going to do is I am going to place the right side of the wrap over to the right side. And we're going to do something a little different. Then I'm going to put the left side over. And we're just going to eye it out. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be doing a lot of leaf casting with this wrap. I am going to be leaf casting the perimeter. And perhaps I'm going to be leaf casting the perimeter on both sides to make this page a little bit stronger than it is. So what I want to do now is I want to step out of my workroom and I am going to get the centerfold, which is right here. And I want to try to measure up as best as possible the sides of the centerfold to the wrap that we are trying or that we are going to leaf cast. Just like this, easy peasy. And we're going to do it as best as possible. And then I'm going to show you a different technique, what we're going to do. In fact, we are going to essentially, it looks like this may be a case where we have to touch the left to the right, because I think that's going to line up the way we need to line it up. So let's take a look right here. Right, it's a little bit bigger. Okay, so all I know now is we're going to take the centerfold, I'm going to put it away. I just took it out of my room, my boiler room. And this leaf casting job is going to be that they are going to be kissing. They are going to be tight as tight can be, just like this. So that's the situation. I want it tight because we don't have a lot of room to work with. Then what I want to do is I want to measure the bottom. I want to try to line them up as best as possible, and that looks pretty good with my clear ruler. And a lot of this is just eyeing it, mathematics, not. There's no mathematics involved in this. This is eyeing it out. There's no measurement because we're trying to put two wraps together. And as you can see, look how different the border is from this wrap to this wrap. So you can tell it actually should be the reverse. The top of this right wrap has a lot more border, and the left wrap, the bottom has border. So this is clear that we are marrying pages. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied with that. And what I want to do is I want to make it where it stays in its shape, meaning I don't want to move it around where we are going to move the placement of where I put the wrap. So how are we going to do that, Jerry the Jitterbug? Well, I have my pump sprayer right here. Okay. And if you want to buy this pump sprayer, it's pretty good. And it was pretty inexpensive. I have the pump sprayer on the description, in the description on my Amazon account. So what I want to do is I want to give it a little spray, just like this. We're going to wet it. And you may be saying, why are you wetting it? Why are you wetting this wrap that is perfectly straight? I'll tell you why I'm going to do it. Because before we get to the leaf casting, I am going to press this. I am going to press it in my book binding press, just like this. And in fact, let's wet it a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to put one paper towel to absorb some of the moisture. And you see right here how maybe it's coming through with the camera, but when you wet it, the page does ripple a little bit. Okay, I don't have it on the suction, but it does manipulate the flatness of the paper. So I want to try to do it where we could flatten it out before we leaf cast the wrap. So look at that. Look at all the water the paper towel absorbs. Then I'm going to put my piece of plastic just like this. Okay. Then we're going to put my top shelving unit just like this. And then I'm going to take it over and put it in Big Bertha, my copy press / bookbinding press. And I'm going to wrench down on it like this. And I'm going to put it in the press off camera. I didn't go that tight. That's just sound effects. So what are we going to do next? What we're going to do next, and this is going to be a long process, guys. This is going to be a long, drawn-out upload. And this is a part of the conservation. This is a part of the conservator's life. like me. And this book is hopefully, and I think it will, it's going to turn out awesome. So let me shut the camera off, and I'm going to get the pulp, and I'm going to show you, because the pulp has been sitting in my refrigerator probably for about 2 weeks right now. And we're going to take a look, and we're going to see how we're going to revitalize it. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, guys, we're back for some rockin' action. So here is the paper pulp right here. It's been sitting in my refrigerator for quite some time. And as you can see, look, when it dries on the plastic like that. So what I do is very simply, you just spray it a little bit with water. Let's pump it up a little bit just to clean it. And once you spray it, you'll see the pulp will come off once it's wet. That's why this is conservation, okay? And then you can wet it like that and just take a brush. And I just brush all of the wet pulp and put it back in to the container. Okay, I didn't do a good job. I'll probably go use the sink upstairs. Now, I want to try to use this pulp for the whole job. So it's sitting in the refrigerator for a few weeks. This is a scrap piece that I have that I tested the color. I'll just rip it up and I'll put it right in. And I will add to the pulp mixture because we want to continue the same color format. And in fact, right here is some scrap cuttings that I use for the centerfold. I'll do the same. I will rip it up and I will just put it right back in to the blender, and we will let it soak, not for long. We can let this soak probably for a half an hour or so, and it will add to my pulp mixture. And the good thing about it is that it is the same color. We want to be consistent with color. I'll add a little bit more water to it, just like that regular tap water. And there are a lot of wonderful channels out there like Peter Alici. He's doing such wonderful work in leaf casting. And I know Larry from Flying L Comics, he's doing great leaf casting. And really, it's wonderful how much the community has been working on leaf casting, and I really love it. It's great. And if I am any way a person that started this or made this a little bit more popular, I'm very happy with that. And I really enjoy other channels and other people in the community doing leaf casting. And just because there's one way that someone does leaf casting, it doesn't mean that way is always right. There are many different ways you can do leaf casting, because I know that Peter Alici and his channel is very scientific, and that's great. Kudos to him. And I think it's wonderful with the measurements and the type of pulp and the weighing of the pulp and measuring of the parts that you're trying to fill in. That is awesome. I don't do it that way. I do it more laying the pulp and eyeing it out. I'm an eye out guy. That's how I like to do things. So what we're going to do next is we put the scrap pieces of the paper pulp into the blender, and I want to give it a mixture. And I know there also is a lot of conversation about not mixing too much with the strands of the paper and the fibers. I like to mix it. I like to puree it. I like to make it smooth as smooth can be. And that's just the way I do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little mix, and I'll be right back. Cover your ears if you're sensitive to noise. Okay, from the back, you're probably seeing this, that some of the pulp leaked out. So we did have a malfunction in the process. So I don't know if the blender is on its way out, which I think it may be. But we'll just clean it up and we'll see if we can still use this blender. Unfortunately, they don't last long. This is like my third my third blender that I had. I buy them from Amazon. Or actually, I bought this from Target. This is a Target blender. It wasn't an expensive one, maybe 20 bucks or so. But something is leaking. It could be the gasket underneath. I don't know. But you know what? Let's give it a little mix and let's see if we can get it going again. Okay, I think maybe it was just coming out from the top. That's okay, it happens. I told you it was going to be action-packed, this upload. I always like to have paper towels. Those are recycled paper towels. So what we're going to do now is when I remove the blender top from the refrigerator, I always like the pulp to cool down to room temperature. Okay, I don't like using the pulp when it's ice cold. For some reason, I feel when it's ice cold, I don't get the control of the pulp. I like it more room temperature. So I guess it would be cooling down. What's the correct term? When it's cold, it's down. So maybe moving up to room temperature. We want to be scientific on the channel. So we're going to let this sit for a while. We're going to let it acclimate to the temperature of the room. And I'll be back in a few hours, guys, because I was working today. You see, I have my lawyer shirt on. Wah, wah, wah. I was being a lawyer. It says lawyer, just someone that talks. Probably doesn't even know what they're talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in a little bit, a few hours, and then we're going to set up the leaf casting table, and then we're going to get rolling and we're going to leaf cast the wrap that is completely split. So stay tuned. I'll see you shortly.